Welcome back to my next video on Vedic astrology. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the effect of Sun if it happens to be in your 7th house. To know where the planets are, you will have to use the bhava chart only and not the Rashi chart. But does that mean that you can avoid using the Rashi chart? That's not true, because the Rashi chart lets you know if the Sun is exalted or debilitated, or it is in the sign of its friend or enemy. All this is to be known only by looking at your Rashi chart. So let's get back to the green board. Before going any further, let me remind you that the 7th house deals with the opposite sex. The spouse, your wife or your husband, is always referred from the 7th house. So the Sun in the 7th house should definitely have something to do with marriage. And as we rightly expected it, Sage Bhrigu says if the Sun is in the 7th house, as in this case, the marriage will take place late. So what is the meaning of late? If the bus that you're waiting for is late, it means that when you're waiting, it is not arriving. That's the simple way of saying something is late. So it means that when marriage is expected, it doesn't happen. It happens many years after the time when people around you normally get married. So does this mean that people who have the Sun in the 7th find it very difficult to get married and always have their marriage only late? This is not the case all the time. Some people having this combination do get married even at a young age, or have what is called an early marriage. For some of them this has happened. But where astrology wins is that such a marriage usually doesn't last, and there is eventual separation and divorce, and then the person goes on with what is called the original marriage, which destiny wanted that person to have. For example, late marriage. So after 30. So it should be considered a good idea for those having Sun in the 7th. It is better to have a late marriage than have an early marriage and go through a lot of issues. Vivaha vilambanam. This is the word that he has used for saying that there could be hurdles and delay in getting married. Stri dveshi. You will not like the opposite sex, but it's not exactly like the opposite sex. He will not respect the opposite sex, which is why he is going to more than one person. And paradarataha. Interested in others' wives. He will indulge in sexual relationship with women other than his wife. He will have more than one wife. All this is to do something with the marriage. Some unhappiness around marriage is often seen in people who have the Sun in the 7th house. Sometimes they get married to a person already married. Even this is possible. In his 25th year, Pancha Vimshati Varshe, Deshantara Pravesham. In his 25th year, he will travel to a place far away from his native land. Abhakshaya Bhakshanam. Abhakshaya Bhakshanam actually means that the person eats forbidden food, something that is not allowed. For example, a non-vegetarian in South India, let's say, he has the mutton and chicken most of the time. So if a person having this combination is in South India, then possibly he might be interested in maybe frogs or snakes. So if a person is born in a family where non-vegetarian food is not allowed, then such a person may consume non-vegetarian food. He will not have fair dealings with his wife. Repeatedly we find this something being told about the spouse. Remember that when we read the textbooks like this, you find the mentioning of Stri. For example, Stri Dveshi means actually hating women. So instead of that, we should translate this as hating or disrespecting the opposite sex. So he will not have fair dealings with his wife or husband, with his spouse. He will be of unstable mind, Vinodashila, a different kind of mind. It's not actually unstable, something different. Then also will not like his wife. If the Sun is posited in his own sign, Leo or Simha Rashi, then there is great improvement on this, and the native will be satisfied with one wife and will not go to other women. If the Sun is associated with an enemy or debilitated planet, or Saturn himself has trouble being debilitated or maybe afflicted by malefics, in which case what will happen is the person will have number of wives or maybe sexual contacts with many women. So in case of women's horoscope, you'll have to read it as number of husbands, or will have sexual contacts with many men. Let's have a look at the other classical books. Brihat Jataka says the person concerned will suffer humiliation at the hands of women. This may be in cases where the sun is badly afflicted. So normally, if the person keeps going after the wives of other people, then there is a possibility of being humiliated. Eventually, it is bound to happen. And Faladipika says some part of the body of the native will be afflicted. The native will be against the interest of the government. He will wander aimlessly and get humiliated. The native will be devoid of happiness from his wife. The classical book Saravali says the native will be without luster on his face, not that shine on his face, dull. He will get humiliated in public, and he will suffer from diseases and will go and will do deeds which may lead him into prison. He will be immoral and will have no respect for women. Chamatkar Chintamani says the wife of the native will suffer. So you can read it as the spouse of the native will suffer. The body of the native will be afflicted. He will always be worrying. He will suffer losses in business. This is being mentioned because the seventh house is also the house of business. Especially in partnership business, the sun in the seventh house creates a lot of issues. Even if it happens to be with your own siblings, your brothers and sisters, even then it creates problems. I have noticed in many cases that if the sun is in the seventh, and even if the partner with their own spouse, the wife or husband, even then there could be a lot of trouble in business. Because of his jealous nature, he will never get proper sleep. This is what has been written in Chamatkar Chintamani. And so, at one shot, if you look at all the classical books, we only see that sun in the seventh house is not good news. Except, of course, if the sun is exalted or in its own sign and is unafflicted by malefics or is influenced only by benefics. Let's do a few examples. The first one, I have it in front of you on the board, is the ascendant here in Mesha or Aries ascendant, and the seventh house sun is like this. In the bhava chart, I hope it is also in the same place. Here, the sun is debilitated and therefore in a very bad mood. Debilitated planets are in a bad mood. So how do you know this is the seventh house? You count from here, 1, ascendant, clockwise 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So that's how it is in 7th. You can have it in so many other ways. It could be ascendant here and ascendant in Vrishchika, or in the 7th house again, the ascendant could be here and sun could be here. In all these cases, you will have to use your expertise in astrology, remember many rules that you have read, and then put it all back into this video, so you will get finer aspects of what would happen if the 7th house happens to be occupied by the sun. So let's do an example where the ascendant is here and the sun is here. So the sun here is good. So in this case, because the sun is in its own sign also, and it happens to be in the 7th house, therefore Sage Bhrigu says there is no problem at all. This person will remain with one marriage. Let's do another case where the ascendant is in Mesha and then sun is debilitated, and then on top of that you have Mars, and then maybe if you want to add trouble, then it could be Rahu here, which case you should have put Ketu in this place. So you find an extraordinary there's an extraordinary influence of malefics on the 1-7 axis, and for this person, every little statement that has been said in under the sun in the 7th house, every single statement that has been considered negative, all those statements would definitely apply for this person. If you have a combination like this, then it's better to get married as late as possible. Maybe if you can contemplate even getting married at the age of 35 or even 40, etc., then at least it saves you all the trouble. People having this combination should never get into partnership ventures and stay away from business, be employed all the time. This is another situation where the ascendant is Capricorn or Makar Lagna, then sun is here, This is also a case of the seventh house sun. So you expect trouble in marriage or late marriage, etc. But if Jupiter was here, then that is not likely to happen. I hope you have gained some knowledge in Vedic astrology by watching this video. And in case you have any doubts, please type them out in the comment section. And whenever I find the time, I'll answer them for you.